Come along as we show you the overlooked black vinegar fields of southern Japan and what makes Kagoshima worth visiting, and what insights we learned about sustainability. We decided to go to Japan in the first place because we are vinegar makers and we wanted to see what the black vinegar fields of Japan were all about, as well as going during Christmas holidays, which we've never taken a trip at that time period.
The last time we were in Japan, we were like, oh, cool, let's just hop on over and check out some vinegar breweries. And then we realized we were like 10-hour train rides from any brewery in the region. So this time we planned a trip specifically to go to southern Japan, the Kagoshima prefecture, to see the black vinegar fields in person.
So other than trying the black vinegar, we mainly stayed in Kagoshima City and experienced the food, the culture, the onsens. And so we want to tell you guys a little bit about the trip as we go.
It took us about 20 hours to get there from Hawaii, which is kind of crazy because it's about as close as you can get. But we flew into Osaka and then had to transfer airports. And then we got in really late that night to Kagoshima City. And the next day we're like, hey, let's hit the ground running. Let's go straight to the black vinegar fields.
Yeah, we were still in that kind of jet lag, kind of fog and haze, and we figured if we don't just do it now, we'll probably be more exhausted in the day following. So we woke up 5 a.m., ran around Kagoshima City. There was nothing open, of course.
It was so cold.
Yeah, it was very quiet. It was immediately, we realized how much colder than we anticipated. We figured, oh, southern Japan, it must be kind of warm. And being used to Hawaiian tropical weather, it was definitely colder than expected.
Actually, on that first run, he was like, I can already feel it. My body's loving the cold. This is going to be fantastic.
I have a feeling this is going to be perfect noodle eating weather. I can already feel my...
So we're like, cool, we like cold weather. Let's go.
Yeah, that ended up not turning out. But anyways, we hopped on the train, Kagoshima-chu, the kind of main transportation hub of Kagoshima City. And it was about a 45-minute train ride to Kuroshima, which is the actual city where most of the black vinegar is actually produced. And what was beautiful about it is while we were going along the coastline on the train, you could see the famous Sakamoto volcano. It's a very active volcano in the background, and it's kind of nestled behind the bay that I believe it created. And so it was beautiful to see. Like, it's a picturesque volcano. It's absolutely beautiful.
You know what? It even erupted that morning. I don't think we realized, like, on the train you could see the black smoke, but we thought that was just kind of how it is every day. But it turns out it had erupted that morning, which is crazy because the volcano in Hawaii also erupted that day.
Yeah, it was very kind of serendipitous, which is always kind of how travel ends up becoming at its best, is just kind of unique coincidences.
We're out here watching dolphins right now. There's just an epic view, and that's kind of how we felt on the train to this black vinegar field. It's like, wow, look at that volcano. Like, this is so beautiful. That's the quintessential volcano.
We wanted to tell the story at this beach because we love this beach, and the trip was so fun and unique, but we're about a few weeks past it. And so we wanted to be in a place where, like, it would capture kind of our enthusiasm and the kind of joy of, like, what travel represents for us. So the first day we were in Japan, we went and visited, and we pretty much experienced the whole enchilada that day. And it was almost like, oh, wow, like, we've done what we set out to do. What else is there to do? And so the rest of the trip was mostly meandering Kagoshima City and eating all of local delicacies, food of the area, as well as kind of getting used to what the city was really all about. It was mainly about the onsens. There's so much geothermal activity from the volcano that the volcano is really at the heart and soul of the culture, the food, and just the place itself. And so that was pretty much what the 10-day trip was all about.
Yeah, it was definitely relaxed and recover, except for, like, the cold aspect of it. But that first day, like, we had tried to do some research on where the black vinegar fields were from when we were still home, and we couldn't really find any details except for one or two major black vinegar sites. But you could see on the map there were like hundreds of fields of black vinegar. So when we got there, we went to some of the main shops, and maybe you can tell a little bit more about.
Well, we went to Sakamoto, and it's one of the more famous, internationally acclaimed black vinegar breweries in Kagoshima. The black vinegar, it's a cultural institution in terms of there's dozens and dozens of breweries doing it all in this same prefecture, in this like hyper local region. It's probably a 20-mile radius. there's lots of people doing the same kind of style of fermentation in the product. But yeah, we had seen Sakamoto from YouTube videos, and that was kind of the first destination that we knew at least there would be a landmark to visit, to check out the fields, and to kind of get a starting point. And so that's where we arrived after taking a taxi from the train stop. And we first arrived before kind of anything was open. We checked out their gift shop, which kind of is a mini museum as well as a shop to selling the vinegar products. And so we quickly walked down to the main area where you can actually see the fields on this premise. And so it's in front of their restaurant. And Alex, tell them about it right when we got there.
Yeah, I mean, so right when we walked in, like, I think I've got footage of it I'll share here, but like the first thing we noticed was the smell.
Oh, it's so umami.
Wow. Wow, the smell is unbelievable. This is one of the most fragrant smells I've ever smelled, especially when it comes to vinegar, the best.
And then we walk out on this platform and the volcanoes in the background. It's just so picturesque. Everything we had seen the photos of, the smell, the experience, we're immersed. And then we asked, like, hey, can we get a closer look? Like, will you guys let us in the field? Can we see what the guys stirring are doing? And wanted a little closer look, but since they're such an establishment, that's just not something that they allow visitors to do. So we were a little bummed about that, and then we decided we would just have an early breakfast and go have some dumplings and taste out some of their vinegars, maybe purchase a few to bring home with us, and then continue on our journey.
So they gave us a sample of the 3-year-old aged vinegar with a little bit of honey in it, I think maybe some soda water.
This ended up being our go-to beverage the whole trip.
Wow, it's really got this nice, almost aged funk. It's you can taste that there's a few years of character in it. We just finished our first vinegar tour. We saw the field method a little bit. We didn't really get our hands dirty and close to the actual ceramics like we wanted to, but nonetheless, it was really awesome. The smell of it was definitely the highlight, and the vinegar definitely had a really unique character. And so now we're gonna just meander this city, Kagoshima, which is famous for the black vinegar, and see if we can locate more breweries and see if we can continue going down the path of learning more about black vinegar. Black vinegar, it's a very pure product. This is the springs coming right through the town, so I'm guessing this is probably the water source for a lot of the vinegar, which is crucial for making great sake, but especially black vinegar as well. It's not every day that you walk around a town and everywhere you look, there's these giant artisan ceramic pots fermenting years old black vinegar.
Let's normalize outdoor brewing. We're actively looking for more breweries, and as we just walk by this one zone, we can actually smell it. So we're gonna see if we can follow our noses.
Looks like we did sniff our way to another brewery, and this one's a little bit smaller, so hopefully we'll be able to get a closer look. And that's exactly what happened. This man was so friendly and more than happy to show us around his vinegar fields. He recognized that we are fellow vinegar makers, and we kind of bonded over that as much as we could with the language barrier. And what we're tasting right now is a 1-year-old vinegar. These get aged up to 3 to 5 years, although you can buy it at the 1-year phase. The lighter the color, the younger the vinegar.
Get some of the rice.
Nice.
Wow, I can smell that from over there.
Phenomenal.
3 years.
Look at the essence on that.
Look how much darker it is than the other one. Wow.
And it's got total umami. That smells
It's beautiful.
unbelievable. Oh yeah. Phenomenal.
That is delicious.
We've now moved on to a 5-year aged vinegar, and you can see this is where it gets its name, black vinegar, because as it ages, it gets very, very dark and complex.
Kurozu is deeply connected to Taoist philosophy, particularly the principles of balance, harmony, and the concept of Wu Wei, non-doing, which emphasizes natural processes unfolding without force. The outdoor fermentation of Kurozu in ceramic vessels reflects the Taoist idea, as the vinegar is allowed to ferment naturally, relying on the environment's conditions without intervention. This slow, patient process mirrors Taoist beliefs in gradual transformation and the importance of working with nature rather than against it.
In Japan, Kurozu evolved not only as a culinary ingredient, but also as a health tonic, embodying the Taoist philosophy of using food to harmonize the body and cultivate vitality. Kurozu has its roots in China, where vinegar making, particularly the production of dark rice vinegar, has been practiced for thousands of years. Over time, Japan adapted these methods, developing Kurozu into a smoother, more mellow vinegar prized for its culinary and health benefits.
I would say almost the climax of the trip was the actual sensory experience of smelling the vinegar. We were absolutely not prepared to have such a visceral reaction. Even though we were jet lagged, like, we got giddy, and it totally had like a
novel moment. Like, what we seek out of all travel is that initial virgin energy of like first seeing something. It's like, wow, like this is so freaking epic. This is totally worth the effort and the jet lag. That first moment, that was like as good as it gets. This is everything we came here for.
Black vinegar, carbonated honey soda water. Let's try it.
That's beautiful.
Oh yeah, the bubbles are going. Wow, delicious. It's very distinct. Black vinegar, the closest thing I can say is like a balsamic mixed with like caramelized onion reduction scent. This has definitely got the aged black vinegar.
This is actually the same farm that we visited the other day, and they have a little shop where they just sell their products in the city. We have the last sip.
It almost does it almost feels sad that you would bottle it and have it, because once you actually see the process, it's like you want to just preserve it forever in a ceramic pot at your home and never even use it, because it feels too special to even ingest. But yeah, it's gone.
Goodbye.
It took a couple of years to make, and now it was gone in 45 seconds walking in the streets of Kagoshima. This is really one of the beautiful things about traveling to countries that really have a cultural strong place, or like just a strong place for food in their culture. Like, this area of Japan it's culturally ingrained into them to do this black vinegar field method. We've been walking 2 or 3 miles all throughout Kuroshima, and everywhere you go you see the ceramic pots, and it's just like so refreshing to see a culture as a whole kind of like accept something of this artisan nature and really kind of embrace it and continue to permeate it throughout their whole society, as well as their just kind of cultural identity. It's beautiful. It's so remarkable. Like, it really is aging in nature. This is nature aging. These ceramic pots are being specially created near Kyoto, and they're literally letting the sun just purely age it with the elements. I mean, this one brewery specifically is in the middle of a valley, and you can see the volcano across from the valley in the middle of the bay, and it's just picture perfect. And you couldn't even describe a better place to live, let alone let your ferment live, and that's what they're doing. So the big question is it worth it traveling all the way to southern Japan for black vinegar?
Probably not unless you're a vinegar maker. I wouldn't suggest planning your entire trip around these black vinegar fields.
Yeah, I would say that it's definitely a great day trip, and if you're in the area, committing a day or two to checking out would totally be worth it. But to make it the center of your trip is probably ill-advised. Even for us that are vinegar makers, we found ourselves with a little bit too much time on our hands beyond checking out the vinegar. So yeah, definitely great experience, but maybe plan to only spend a day or two with the black vinegar.
Yeah, and if we came back again, we would rent a car and explore more of this prefecture, but overall the trip was definitely worth it and really just reminded us to stay close to nature. Seeing the black vinegar fermenting outside feels like such a foreign concept in today's world where everything must be processed and predictable. It's shocking because modernity has steered us so far away from the natural process that we've forgotten our roots. This was just yet another reminder to us that the truth comes from the observation of nature.